anybody knows, so I'm going to introduce it again. I'll say it again once you open it up on the on YouTube.
I just opened it up.
Until Proven Guilty tour. What we're doing is highlighting everyday people who are getting these experiences where they're pretty much targeted socially, economically, and this is the reason we're amplifying the reason. We're showing these cases, proving the reason why we have to get federal and state protections. We are the least protected in this country, and this is why these things constantly happen to our people. We have people that's going through a lot of different changes. I mean, not just changes, we're going harassment, loss of property, getting falsely accused and arrested. There's so many things that's happening. People's rights are being taken away, and it's almost as if it's nothing to see here. And it's very important that we continue to highlight these issues, because if we don't, our people, we're going to all lose. And it's like we're just sitting ducks. It's duck, goose until it's you. And then when you're experiencing it, now you're going to, you'll see what it feels like, because all of these voices is like a tree that falls in the middle of the woods, and nobody's around to hear it fall. So we're trying to make us like a thunderstorm where you can hear us miles away. So that's the goal, to change the narrative, highlight our issues. And guys, if you guys can tweet out the space, it's going to be very important.
Absolutely, guys. I'm going to give a shout out because we did just go live on YouTube. We're going to be having a special space / podcast tonight to all my YouTube listeners over there. Definitely go ahead and share this broadcast out tonight. Definitely go ahead and share this broadcast out. It's hashtag on Twitter, guilty until proven guilty. And it's about the black farmer, Derek Williamson, who's fighting to go ahead and keep his property up. We're going to let Derek go ahead in a second and explain and tell everybody his story. We're just waiting for a few more of our people to actually come into the spaces as well, too. So, guys, make sure for the night's broadcast, you definitely go ahead. You like, share, subscribe, comment, and definitely share this broadcast out tonight. We're trying to get this story as much attention as it deserves. So we definitely appreciate everybody that's coming up in the space and who's coming on the actual Twitter broadcast as well. I'm sorry, YouTube broadcast as well, too, guys. So definitely subscribe, share, like, comment on tonight's broadcast. We appreciate everybody coming in. We're going to give people a few more minutes, and then we're going to go ahead and we're going to let Derek go ahead and tell his story. Let everybody hear exactly what's going on with him. And we expect to have a pretty nice broadcast as much as possible. We, if some of you guys may want to come up and ask some questions, he'll be available. I can't say how long, but he will be available. So shout out to our people that's coming up in the actual in the Twitter space as well, too, guys. Everybody in the Twitter space, please go ahead and share out the actual space for the night. Derek, you know how to mute your microphone?
Yes.
Okay, because I heard a little bit of feedback. So whenever somebody's talking, and I know Derek, he's new to Twitter, guys. He's definitely new to the actual Twitter spaces. So Derek, just when somebody's speaking, just so they don't hear the feedback in the background, just go ahead and mute the mic like this. And then, when you want to go ahead and speak or whatever, then just go ahead and definitely. And like I said, we got some of our people coming in here as well right now. So we're going to give a couple more minutes, get a few more people up in here. And then you can go ahead and you can start, you can start sharing your story, your experience, your pain and everything that's going on with the situation right now. Miss Giselle, they're doing a guilty until proven guilty tour, about some of the incidents and cases going on in Black America that's not getting much attention. So shout out to that sister. She's co-hosting tonight as well, too. Miss Giselle, just make sure that you don't have your Bluetooth on so they can hear you loud and clear over there in YouTube land as well, too. So the sister, she's doing a number of things behind the scenes as well, too. So shout out to Miss Giselle as always. Shout out to some of our people that's coming up in the space right now. I see that Negro's up here. I see my boy Ray's up in here as well, too. So shout out to all you guys coming up in here. Please go ahead. Alyssa, what's going on with you guys? Please go ahead and tweet this actual space out tonight, because like I say, we want to get this as much attention as possible. You guys remember the actual space we had back in January with the Colorado ranchers that was facing terroristic type threats on their property. Law enforcement did absolutely nothing whatsoever. I think we were second space slash podcast to actually speak on that. And then, more and more people, Dana, she covered it, we was able to get us some notoriety on a national scene as well, too. So more people started nationally speaking about that situation as well, too. We know about the plight of the black farmers in this country. We know about the amount of acreage that's been stolen from them since the since 1900s, and we know that in terms of the actual property that we had at one time is nothing in comparison to what it is, what it once was, which was never great, never what it should have been, but at the same time it's even less now. So we know the squeeze, we know the neglect that it's getting from the United States government. We know Joe Biden and everybody else, a lot of different groups also complain when the black farmers were trying to get theirs. Everybody said, well, we got to get our hand in here and get something as well, too. So, Derek, he's gonna go ahead and share his story with us. I'm not going to take up too much time. I was just trying to let a few of you guys get up in the space. Like I say, make sure you guys retweeting this space out. I don't see if you're not retweeting it out, then we're definitely not helping on the grassroots level trying to get this story out here. A retweet is free. So definitely go ahead and retweet it out, retweet the space out. Let's go ahead and try to get some eyeballs on this situation. Let's try to get this brother's voice amplified where we can have more and more people actually listening to it and hearing it. And like I say, for my people that's over there in the YouTube world, please go ahead and share tonight's broadcast out. Share tonight's broadcast out to whatever social media platform you got. Please go ahead and share it out. We're not going to hold up too much longer. We're going to go ahead and let Derek go ahead and, just give us an introduction. Let us know, Derek, where you're from, where you're living at, your profession, anything that you feel, you don't have to go right into the story, but just kind of just give us an introduction into your life, so to speak. So, the actual space and our listeners can actually, get acclimated with you.
Hey, yes, sir. First and foremost, everybody, good afternoon, good night. I know many people are in different places. So I just wanted to start out by saying thank you, everyone, for just tuning in, for giving me an opportunity to share my voice, to share our story, to share what our mission is, and to share some complex injustices that are happening to us in real time. Part of this process, my voice got stifled in some ways, or at least the judicial system tried to. And we're going to get into a little bit of that later. But just wanted to start off by saying this. I am really, really, really appreciative of every person that's listening in. On behalf of all the animals, myself, you guys are going to get a chance to get a flavor for me and my ministry, what we do as we continue on. But, I'm a young black farmer out of Georgia. I'm 28 years old. And I've always believed that animals have an incredible way to help people, okay? Even from when I was a young child, I always remember just wanting to always being outside, loving horses, farm animals, and just being outside and just nature itself. As I would get older, I began to realize that I had a very unique calling on my life, right? One that encompassed me bringing the worlds together, so to speak. We know that animal therapy is a big deal. There's certain times that animals can minister to people when other people can't, or pharmaceutical drugs can't get to a person and help them. Animals are gifted to change the game up for us when it comes to emotional support. It's proven that it helps bring down anxiety, depression, releases dopamine into the brain. So I believe that I had a mission to begin to create a symbiotic relationship between people and animals, right? So it'll be in 2020 in October that I would incorporate the way Dynamic Animal Therapy Encounters, and also the nonprofit Paramount Wildlife Incorporated. And the way Dynamic Animal Therapy Encounters is a S corporation, or I like to say ministry, so to speak, that believes that animals have a way of reaching people through animal therapy. And so, that's animals saving the lives of humans through therapy outreach, whether that's helping the veteran that cannot find peace from war times, maybe helping them find a smile, or helping them to feel connected and grounded again. Maybe that's a child with autism that feels that they cannot escape the box, but then we connect them with the animal that helps them find a little bit of peace and maybe help with sensory issues. and how animal therapy goes. It goes much further, and then also Paramount Wildlife Incorporated was incorporated as a nonprofit, and we believe that we had to turn animals are ministering to people through animal therapy, but then we flipped the concept and said, hold on, we got to give back at the same time too. So then the nonprofit is humans ministering to animals through wildlife rescue. Oftentimes you see the animals are wounded, orphaned, and harmed, or in bad situations of neglect. And humans have to use their expertise to stand in the gap to either medically assist, help them out of traps, or sometimes animals are orphaned because of vehicle collisions. And humans have to stand in the gap in order to preserve those animals' lives. So in a nutshell, these organizations were emerged. God placed on my heart to do these, and it's my destiny, my calling, my passion. It's what we do, and it's how we were structured to make a difference on both sides of that, if that makes sense to everybody. So my story gets a little bit interesting because if you hear me, you begin to hear a dream, right? You begin to hear me wanting to bring the worlds together, understanding that, we have a role to play on both sides. So there's the animals to learning how to minister to people, or people learning how to minister to animals. And that was a dream, and so fast forward a little bit, and January, actually I started in 2021. So in July of 2021, a tremendous miracle happened for the ministries, right? We were able to close on our farm, on our estate. And it was amazing that it had everything we needed. It had all the pastures, the barns. It was just beautiful. Everything that we needed, and that the ministry's been praying for. We were able to secure it. And a lot of people ask, well, how did all that happen? You're young and things like that. My background is in community. I believe in touching the lives of people, and I served in various capacities on different boards in the Metro Atlanta area. Whether that was food banks, whether that's direct ministry, whether that was helping assist the juvenile courts. So I was just really involved in ministry, and I also started getting involved in a lot of wildlife efforts as well. Working with wildlife rescues. I became the vice president of a pretty large rescue out here in the Metro Atlanta area. And then actually end up becoming business partners, and bringing some really cool animals into the state of Georgia. Not going to too much focus on that too much right now. That actually resulted in not working out. My business partner at that time, that we were in this wildlife rescue business and ministry together, she decided to deal in unbalanced scales, and I had to unmarry myself from the practice. And from the animals, I actually bought into Georgia some very cool animals like zebras. Some of you may have seen me online and see the different animals. I bought zebras and African servals and things like that into our rescue. But at that time, it was a lot of things going on in the animal kingdom with Tiger King and all over the media. And when we were going through a quote unquote business breakup, or that breakup, I didn't want to be a young man on the news and everything, fighting for animals and all that stuff, So I said, you know what, I'm just going to start over from scratch. It's too much going on in the animal kingdom right now. The story may get a lot of publicity back then, and I made a personal decision to literally walk away from everything associated to that. So literally, I lost everything in the midst of my first interaction in the wildlife world. So that encouraged me to open my own ministry, open my own business. So of course I incorporated an S corporation and a nonprofit because I trusted my hands. I learned the hard way when you trust other people to do what God called you to do, or do the right thing. That becomes challenging when they decide to go a different way. So that's how these ministries came to be. Does anybody have any questions or anything? We're good. Can I continue?
Yeah, go ahead and continue. And if anybody wants to ask questions, we'll go ahead and let you go ahead and lay your story out. And if you guys want to ask questions after he's done, the routine. Just go ahead and raise your hand, and we'll go ahead and we'll get to you. But go ahead, Derek.
Yeah. So the companies were incorporated under pretense of hurt, and the trail already on the front end. So when I incorporated the way dynamic animal therapy encounters, I incorporated as an S corp, making sure that I had all of the shares to the S corporation, and I was the articles in corporation, everything was secure and founded by myself and the vision that I was given to orchestrate and carry it out. To make a long story just a little bit shorter, moving on from that situation, I ended up meeting a very successful family, the Hardys. You guys see them, probably seeing it all over the internet about the situation that I'm in with the Hardys. But I'm just going and tell it as if this may be your first introduction to my story. I was actually director of a pretty large food bank, and there was these volunteers that were always so helpful. They were always so supportive. They were involved in ministry. They gave to the ministry. They helped cook for volunteers. Just very, very, very instrumental. And over with them, and everyone just loved them. Their support, how they always showed up. They were dedicated, and we began to grow very, very close under service, right? And I was very well respected at the time. And to make a long story a little bit shorter, the Hardys, a young lady named Jordan Hardy ended up having an unplanned pregnancy. All right, her and her mother came to me. I was at my desk in a food bank one day, and they came to me with a dilemma, just pretty much telling me, hey, Jordan is pregnant with a child. Her father is dictating that the child must be terminated, and she cannot do that. I cannot do that. She's under severe stress. We're, at the home now. We don't know. We don't have options of where to go. We don't have anyone here. And the story just went on and on about pretty much telling them, like, hey, she's a child, and we have to make a transition, and we don't know where to go or how to go about this. And, you've been in our lives, and you've been counseling us and helping us, because Jordan has substance abuse problems earlier on. And so I was coaching her and trying to give her some good counsel through that. And she was able to come into sobriety shortly before her pregnancy. And pretty much being the person I am, I'm always trying to help and just try to help as much as I can and on every front. And I knew that, or at least I felt at the time, the safest scenario and the best scenario for them. I know I had extra bedrooms at my home, and I told Jordan is a young lady that got pregnant, and Janet is her mother. I told them, I said, hey, listen, I'm not the biggest fan of this scenario right here, but in order to save the child's life, I'll get involved. And I allowed them to move into my home at 2 extra spare bedrooms on my property. And I told them this was initially before the farm, before the facility that we have now. This was in my personal home before that. And I said, hey, in order to save the child's life, I'll get involved and allow y'all to move into my home. And then, Janet, Jordan's going to need some help. So obviously y'all have to transition together, because I'm not in a position of life to, quote unquote, to help to assist that way. I can provide the rooms and the space, and, those things for you. But you guys are going to have to transition together. And you guys know me, everything's fine. So I understand that's why y'all came to me, because it was familiar and, and so forth. So everything was seemingly okay. The transition, everything was fine. And it'll be some time later, maybe like half a year later or so, that Janet will come to me and she's like, hey, Derek, God has told me something very pointedly to do. And she began to explain to me how God told her to bless the ministry that I was doing with the animals. And she said, I've seen your labor, things that you've done for so many people, for you've helped all of these animals. I know the situation happened with the former zoological facility that she was a part of and all those things. And God has given me very pointed instructions to bless your ministry and to bless you. And I said, okay, that's great. Hey, man, good deal. But she began to further discern what that looked like. And she said, God has told me that about this property here. And turns out Morgan County had a property for sale that was out there. It was a very pricey property. And I told her, she said, well, she asked me, what do you think about this property here? I'm like, well, I mean, it's a nice property. I mean, it has a lot of different animal accommodations, things out there. But it's not necessarily in the price range or something that we're going to, that our company is going to be able to do right now. And to make a long story a lot shorter, she began to really say, hey, listen, God told me to do this. Let's just look at it. Can you ride it? We're just going to see it. And I rode out there, looked at the property, and sure enough, it was a beautiful property, one of the most beautiful estates I had ever seen on the scale of like what it could be, and with all different animal possibilities and ministry possibilities out there. I was like, man, this is amazing. But after seeing the property, Jana would go on and say, you know what, this is the one. I bought you here to show this to you. I'm going to help you to get this property. I'm gifting it to the ministry. And I'm like, are you sure? Are you sure that you heard God tell you to do this? Like, are you positive? And we went back and forth about that for maybe a month or so, because I mean that was a big deal for the ministry, for myself, for the animal family, for everybody involved, for the team. That was a big deal. And she reassured me time and time again, no, this is what I am called to. I received very pointed instruction to do so. So bottom line is we began to investigate moving forward with the property. Okay. So upon the property being secured, the loan company said, hey, listen, we understand what the property, what you're trying to use the property for and so forth, but we are not going to allow you guys to close in the company's name, because my businesses were birthed in 2020, in October of 2020, and we were looking to purchase in July of 2021. So we had not reached 2 years old yet. So they said, the loan company said, hey, listen, you can close personally, and then we'll allow you to move the deed at the closing table. Like, just close personally first, and then you can immediately at the same closing table within a minute or so after signing the first deed, then yes, you can go ahead and move it into, you can sign over all of your interest. You can personally sign over interest at that time. So we went ahead and did that. We ended up taking out a mortgage together on the property. We on the balance of the property that was left. So myself and Janet took out a mortgage on the property as co-owners at that time. As co-owners, joint tenants in common. But I told Janet before closing, I said, hey, listen, I've had some issues in the past with people saying they're going to help and give and support and things like that. And I have to know without a shadow of a doubt, I have to protect this ministry, this organization. I have to know for a fact that you're giving this from your heart, and because that's a gift. This is not, there's no strings attached. It's like you literally are doing this because you feel in your heart, your soul, your mind that you heard divine instruction to do so, and you're giving it as an unadulterated gift. And then so the deed has to be put into the company's name. That way we know who owns what, where, who know. That way all those questions are clear. I can't make the same mistake I made before. And she said, of course, that's not a problem at all. Of course. No, this is why I'm doing this, and that's not a problem. So at the closing table, we initially closed as 50-50 owners, joint tenants in common. And within 2 minutes of signing that deed, the lawyer did the paperwork, secured it, and then we closed on the second deed, which was the standing deed when we got up from the table, which we both had to sign over our interest to the Way Dynamic Animal Therapy Encounters, which made the Way Dynamic Animal Therapy Encounters the sole owners of all thereof, including the animals, the estate, everything was to the Way Dynamic Animal Therapy Encounters. And it was just safe that way because the ministry owns the property, everything belongs to animals and ministry, the people that we serve. And I wanted it to always look like that and be that way. Okay. So that was done. A little people may ask this question a little bit later, a little detail about the funds. When the monies were tendered, when Janet said she was going to tender over funds as a gift to the ministry, of course, my question is, okay, so like, where is this coming from? Hold on, like, what's going on? I mean, I knew that they potentially were pretty well off and things like that. I knew minimal about it, but I did not know the depth. But Janet said, hey, I just inherited like a substantial amount of money from my parents' estate, very, very, very large amount of money from my parents' estate. And it's all inheritance money. It's inheritance money. It doesn't belong to anyone or anything like that. It's not tied up in my marriage or nothing. It's just like, this is inheritance money. I can do whatever I want with it, and this is what I'm glad to do. So, off the good faith notion, I said, okay, I got you. Long as it's up and up and things like that. And we move forward. So in January, we closed on the property in July 12th of 2021, and immediately after securing the property, the work began. I began to really start structuring the ministry. We began to to do some animal enclosures out there, and state of Georgia was working with me. I was actually imported in into Georgia. Hoffman two-toed sloths. I got a pair of those imported. Kinkajou. Some people call them honey bears. You'll see in some of my pictures. These animals are in a lot of my pictures. Patagonian cavimaras, Rias, many Highlanders, water buffaloes, and so before you know it, our farm became very, very, very active really quickly. Our animal family grew. And we all took oaths. Everybody on the team took oaths to protect these animals and protect the ministry. They had to literally have to stand up and put their right hand up to protect us, like being that radical. Sign these oaths and things because this was not a minimal small thing to me. Like we were in what we do, what our ministry does, we save life. You guys heard me saying at the beginning, the animal therapy saves the lives of humans through the animal therapy ministry, humans to and then the wildlife rescue saves the lives of animals through wildlife rescue efforts. So we're in the preservation of life, and we didn't take that for granted. So anyway, the team, we're structured. We were getting everything rocking and rolling. All the animals were put into the enclosure, so it didn't take any time before I really had the facility up to par and getting ready to move, to start moving operational. So now we're ready to start the legal ramifications of what that looked like to begin to quote unquote, I guess in the media world they say go live. So pretty much to go live, and it'll be 39 weeks in. But before I get into that, we have over 116 animals on the facility. From all over the world, like animals who originated from Central and South America, like the sloths and at Kinkajous, at Rias. We had all kinds of different animals. We had just a myriad of animals. And I believe the animal therapy was a lot bigger than a cat, a dog, and a horse. If you guys noticed by the animals that I said, those are a little bit different than cats, dogs, and horses. We love those. Those are great animals to interact with people. But I believe that broadening the scope of the animals will give us a bigger grasp on reaching people because everybody's different. Some people think a horse is too big, a dog is too loud, and a cat is too fluffy. Sometimes people want to see reptiles. They want to see baby alligators. Yeah, whatever the case is, they want to interact. And I believe that providing an avenue to have a safe interaction with these animals are going to help people to be smiled, appreciate wildlife, promote educational and conservation efforts. So we were a zoological conservation facility as well, and in emergence with a research basis to be able to say, hey, let's define animal therapy for the world because there's so much we don't know about animal therapy and what it does. Okay, so the ministry, the business was emerged. We were rocking and rolling. Everything was in place. And Morgan County property value ended up going through the roof in the midst of all this stuff. I don't know what triggered or what happened. I believe they're trying to build, I'm not 100% sure on what the type of business it is for. I want to say it's a Tesla or Google plant or something like that, but I am not 100% sure. So do not quote me on what that plan is, but it's an establishment that's moving out to Morgan County. And property value ended up going up tremendously, okay? And also, Morgan County was rated the number 4 most beautiful place to live in a review that in that recent year as well. So the way Dynamic Animal Therapy Encounters owns a 40-acre estate. It has movie theaters, infinity fall pools that I converted to salt water for the animals. We have pastures, we have marinas, we have state-of-the-art barns, and just a lot out there. So it's a beautiful establishment. So the property is now worth probably double, if not triple, what it was originally bought for, which I believe could be one of the chief motivating factors into why things, quote unquote, went south. So now that everybody understands a little bit about my background, what the vision is, what the mission is, the structural part of us establishing who the animal family is and the key players. Now we're going to get into the interesting part about what happened that puts me on the platform today. All right. Everything was fine. But the reason I brought up the property value that was almost doubled or tripled in value was because it'll be 39 weeks into this that my leadership team convened without me knowing, behind my back. They had a meeting, and And upon that meeting that I was not in, they pretty much discussed the liquidation of the entire company in order to liquidate and take payouts, right? And when Janet ended up coming to me, it was 39 weeks in, and she came to me, told me about that meeting, but then pointedly told me that she's selling the property. I'm like, I said, excuse me, selling the property. We're 39 weeks in. We have 116 animals on this facility, and we're getting prepared to minister. And we have went full throttle. Like, what do you mean selling the property? And she said very pointedly, I made a decision that I'm going to sell the property. And I said, Jen, I said, listen, I said, I'm not sure the dynamics of what has come up to this beyond where we're at right now, but we have to sit down with the mediator and discuss what this could even look like at this point, because we are too far in. Like, we've taken vows to protect this facility, protect the nature of our ministry, and we vow that this is a forever home, and we make sure to settle all this stuff out. And we went a long time and months making sure that this was the right thing to do and everything. So we need to sit down with the mediator, with an attorney, and see if we can come to a common ground on it. And pretty much, a long story, a lot shorter, that was the goal for us to sit down before a mediator and figure out, hey, what happened, what wrong, where are we at? But instead of doing that, Janet would begin with her family to start trying to frame me in Georgia. I told them that we're not, at that moment, I say, hey, we're not liquidating right now. Well, we need to go to a mediator. We have too much on the table. And pretty much they began to start framing me. They called the Department of Natural Resources, Animal Control, the Morgan County Sheriff's Office, the county, and placed me under investigation for quote-unquote animal cruelty and killing of animals. So I was placed under investigation about every department, and it just started from there. They began to call the police on me, saying I was trespassing on my own property. And he being a young black man on this property, and actually as the sole owner of this property. If you guys didn't hear me say this before, is that the way Dynamic Animal Therapy Encounters is an S corporation. I am the 100% shareholder, founder, and CEO of that entire S corporation. We have 100,000 shares in this corporation, and I own all 100,000 shares, which gives me the governing power to protect, to decide, to whatever that looks like, in full ownership in any sense of the way of every company asset, whether that is the animals, the company property, the property itself, as far as either fencing, everything. So just want to make sure that everybody was aware of that. And on top of that, the deed itself is not even in my personal name. It is actually in the company's name. The Way Dynamic Animal Therapy Encounters is the sole deed holder. There is no other deed holder of that land other than the company itself. Okay, so the deed is in the company's name, and the company, for lack of better terms, belongs to the company. So there is no other party that has governing power in any sense of the way.
Now, you, Derek, not to cut you off, but you own and the company you actually own still to this day, right?
Yes. So right now, I am still the founder and CEO of the company, 100% shareholder. The land is still there's list penances filed against me. Pretty much to freeze my land. The land is frozen. I can't do anything, but it's all frozen in the courts. But I am still the owner I'm still the deed holder, and I am still the owner of the company. So that's never changed. They've been in the court system trying to remove me. So that's what all these cases have been filed about. They're trying to rip my company's name off the title, off the deed to the property, and they're trying to take from the company. So they've been able to successfully maneuver and able to enlist the judicial circuit of Morgan County to mobilize against myself and our entire ministry to what we believe violate our constitutional rights of our land. I've been kicked off my land for over 2 years now as a sole deed holder, the company owner, a chief magistrate court judge who I went to for help. I filed for evictions and all these.
You can you hear us, Derek? Because you blanked out for a second, but go ahead and say that last part you just said.
Yeah, sorry, I have exiting calls off my phone. But so chief magistrate court judge got involved in my case, and I'm gonna talk a little bit about her. But I've been removed removed from my land for over 2 years now. My animals had to be the exotic animals had to be removed from the land via the Department of Natural Resources dictated that, because I could not remove these individuals from my land. They began to do catastrophe to the property and with the animals. After the judge, I went for a stay away bond hearing. These people got so vicious with the situation that they began to try to gaslight me into harming them and to bring violence out of me so they can build a case against me. They were unsuccessful, but they started acting in violence against me. I was injured. I had to leave my home in an ambulance multiple times, both by these parties that I'm speaking of now, and then also by law enforcement aiding them with aiding the judges. If you guys are familiar with Indisputable, Dr. Richard Ritchie, you may have seen me on Indisputable before. An analyst, and that, as analyst said, we were betrayed by a friend and a friend's family, and then betrayed by a judge, then betrayed by another judge, then betrayed by law enforcement. It's like, man, as he said in his words, it's like this man can't get a break. And we begin to see in my story to how they began to mobilize a narrative to the judicial system, where they saw the judicial system saw me when they saw me go to court, and their judges saw me go to court. I knew that immediately when I walked in that courtroom and I had on company uniform, and that judge looked at me and she got her bearings on who I was, just the way that judge looked at me. I was like, are you kidding me? It'd be at that moment that I would go to court because I was assaulted on a property. Many of you may have seen a video on my TikTok about them breaking my drawer. I'm going to get corporate documents out of the drawer, and an altercation happens, and my shoulder ended up getting injured in that, and I have medical records for that. It was in a sling, and I go to court. I actually try to get these people off the property. I have a lot of animals out there. Be mindful of that. I go to court and say, hey, listen, I reached out for restraining orders, for stay away bonds. I reached out and I've been trying to get help. These people are manipulating the animals on the facility. I'm the owner of this land, and I need the courts and the law enforcement to do something. Like there's a lot that's at stake here. And I tried to press charges on them initially when that incident first happened. I tried to press charges before I left in the ambulance, and the officer says, no, we're going to just go ahead and let a judge decide on what's going to happen in this right here. So we're just going to sign a stay away order bond. And I was a victim in that. I go to court with the deed of my property, with video evidence. I go to court with medical records. I was on disability from work. I go to court with they dismantled my cameras. I go to court with the broken cameras. I go to court with, like, I'm telling you, all the documents, line by line, letter by letter. And the judge in court refused to look at any of it. She didn't want to see. She lied most of the evidence. She said that she didn't want to see it, and she made it very clear in court. She says, you're the owner of this property here in my county. How would I not know about it? And that's what she said. I'm like, well, I mean, what do you say to that? Well, yeah, we're here. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say to that. And she would go on to proceed, listen. She would hear the testimony of these two white women that testified against me and saying that I assaulted them. Right? So they flipped the order. So now I'm the one that's filing for these things. I'm the one that has video. I'm the one that's injured. I'm on medical records. They come with a notepad with nothing on it and all this evidence. And then they get up before this magistrate court, the chief magistrate court judge, and tell her that I assaulted them, that I physically put my hands on them, that I physically shoved them, and all those things like that. When the video is clear and everything is clear, and the judge reversed the order on me, kicked me off my land, right? Leaving my entire company and my animals, all the fencing. You'll see on my TikTok, I had to go to California and get all these zoological panels and fencing for the animals, and they my former business partner, when all this stuff went south before this court, before I was injured, I was trying to avoid the chaos and the mess. I tried to get help out there removed beforehand. We just fight through the legal system, but they broke the business partner that I spoke of before. So y'all have to pay attention to catch this part, okay? I told y'all before I opened my company, I was a vice president and was in business with another zoological facility that was dealing in unbalanced scales, and I left. So it turns out that the parties now, the people that are on my farm now, they teamed up with her from back then, who has a zoological facility. She moved her facility 8 miles from my farm, right? They teamed up, and in I believe it was April of that year, they stole over $100,000 worth of all my future, the future of our animal enclosure fencing. They stole all of that. They stole some animals. They stole some arias. They stole my big macaw cages, for my bird cages. They stole a bunch of stuff on the property. I made a police report because I had already been kicked off the land. The judge kicked me off the land at that point, but she said that I can still go there and take care of the animals outside, but you're not allowed to go in your house anymore, and you're only there to take care of the animals only. Okay, so I reported that. I told the police, hey, these people, I can't even be in my home, and I can't even protect my home or my assets or the company's assets because I'm kicked off my land and they're stealing everything on the property, and we're not going to be able to rebuild. This is our future. This is everything. So they did that theft with her. So then fast forward, the judge kicks me off the land. And then I'm going through this process, and it's just chaos after mess after mess. It'll be in October of 2022 that my older brother will lose his life. In the midst of all this mess I got going on, and the animals being stolen, and me being kicked out of my home, my biggest supporter, my big brother, he goes to court with me. He would go to court with me. He stood by me the whole time. He actually, him and his wife, they actually, in the case, moved in with me at my property, Conyers. So they helped me through because, obviously being kicked off your land, losing your animals, and being away from your animals and things, and that takes a devastating, catastrophic toll. If you are an animal owner and you have to abruptly lose your animals and be separated from your animal family or from your horses and things like that, you tend to realize, hold on, I think it hit a little bit different, especially when you're truly connected to the heartbeat of your animals and your farm and your ministry, and have that ripped abruptly like that through illegal brute force and through lies or through manipulation of the system, then that hurt differently. But anyway, my brother lost his life in a fatal motorcycle accident in the midst of this. And the day of my brother's death, I actually watched my brother. I got to the scene and saw my brother not alive there. So that was really difficult for me that day. And I had to get to my water buffalo are trained. They're trained in sign language, and they're trained in sign language, and I trained literally almost like the therapy animals, dog tame in every sense of the way, very loving. I had to get to my water buffalo, spend that time to try to ground through that such a traumatic ordeal. Never lost anybody before, let alone see them. So anyway, the order had expired. I went down to go be with my animals and be there. And the order had expired to where I was able to go into my home. And as I went into my room, my bedroom, the video that went viral on platforms, you'll see on the hours after watching my brother not alive, I come to my home in my personal bedroom, and the Hardys are sitting crisscross applesauce on my bed, gaslighting me, telling me your brother's dead. He's probably in hell. He's never coming back. He hates you. You guys have seen the video. It's one of the most intense videos that are probably one of the most intense ones on my page. And you see this, and they breach through my doorway. All on video, bust through my doorway, and I'm trying the best I can to restrain myself in one of the most unraveling moments of my entire life. Like, this is like the trauma and the pain and the sorrow that was pulsating through me at that time. And for these people to try to, for the sake of a case, and they tried to build a case against me, tried to make me put my hands on them. And you've seen the videos, and most of you, if you have not, I'm sure that there'll be links to it, or you can go to my at Derek for Wildlife 007, that at Derek number 4 Wildlife 007, and see those videos. Now, I do give warnings; they are a bit intense, but I believe the world needed to see, and people needed to see what we're going through and what I'm dealing with.
You definitely want to post those on Twitter as well, too, so people can see it on this platform as well.
I will, and I'll definitely do that. I think I posted, was new to Twitter. I posted that one video on here, and then I got off, and I never been back on Twitter up until now. But now I'm going to be very versed with Twitter after tonight. But so that night that incident happens. I call the police out there, and for the first time, an officer, the department has not helped me. The department has just terrorized me up for a long time. All the officers out there, not one has helped me. All of them have been negative, have been disrespectful to me, have called me out of my name, the whole nine. But this in particular sergeant comes out that night, and he saw the distress and the pain in my voice as I'm articulating what happened, showing him this video. And he says, I'm going to go ahead and charge. Before he leaves out of my bedroom, because it was in my bedroom, I went back in my bedroom, they pushed through my doorway and all that stuff like that. You see it in the video. He says, I'm going to charge. But for whatever reason, the judge gets involved at 10, 11 o'clock at night. And guess what Judge Holt does? Judge Holt says, you are not charging her, right? And Judge Holt refused to let an officer, this is not court, this is at 10, 11 o'clock at night, and the judge tells an officer, a sergeant of a department, a veteran of a department, that you cannot charge this individual for the crime that she committed of terrorizing and harassing and all that. He couldn't charge with anything. He made it clear on video. That video ended up going viral. And the reason that the judge did that was because through this process, my brother was my biggest supporter. And he came to court and supported and helped me through this process. And she knew that. So as a ploy to kind of be funny with her, kind of try to hurt me more, the judge is taking this case personally. And she denied any type of justice for that video. To this day, there's been no justice for what happened there, for the pain I had to go through that day. The judge interfered and told the officer to stand down, and you will not charge. So no charges came forth that day. So then we fast forward a little bit further to that, a little bit, and then a little bit further on that day. Law enforcement had to be called out again because Jordan's father came onto my property. Although we've been in a legal battle for a long time at this point, he should not be on the property. He should not be around my corporate documents. I mean, it's my home. Everything's at the home. Everything's there. And I was abruptly kicked out. So all my documents, everything's there. He's able to go in and come and go on my property. He came onto the property, assaulted me on the property. And this in particular time, despite I've been assaulted, you've seen the videos online, I've been assaulted multiple times. But on this in particular instance, I bruised up pretty bad on this. I bruised off my chest, side of my neck, my face, my arms, and I purpose that I've not put my hands on anybody through this process. And because they want me to do that, and I was through this process, I've not put my hands on anybody or responded or picked up anything to strike or done any of that through this process thus far. But I was bruised up really bad. That same officer that came out and tried to charge Jordan that day came back, and when he saw me, he was just like, man, yeah, he saw all the bruises. I mean, I'm definitely not light skinned. So for me to bruise, it had to be a lot. A lot of blunted blows and things like that had happened. So he took pictures and did a police report, and he got ready to charge him. Finally, a charge was going to be brought up. I've had to go through so many incidents of attacks against with this situation, and finally, officer says, "Okay, I couldn't charge her, but I'm about to charge him." The judge gets involved again and calls my house again and tells the officer, and this is noted in the report. She said that you cannot charge him with battery, with simple battery. I'll allow you to charge him with simple assault. If you don't, and when I read the report, I'm like, I had to figure out, I was kind of not really versed in, criminal law, but the reason she would not allow the officer to charge he puts that the applicable charge is simple battery. And battery is when that is the actual physical carrying out the act of harming somebody, meaning that you physically came into contact with them, you physically struck them, you physically left bruises on them. Battery is a much more serious crime than simple assault, which is just the threat of harming someone. You understand those are two different natures. So in order for her to further terrorize me in the midst of everything I'm going through after she's taken my land, allowed my animals to be so all these things like that, she goes a step further. As if the first interference wasn't enough, now she's interfering again. And this time, against all these bruises that are evident on my body from another attack, she says, listen, you are not, she was not even there. She did not see. It wasn't even on the scene. And she tells the officer, no, you're not going to charge with simple battery. You're going to charge with simple assault. You're going to charge with that threat of violence. I'm not allowing you to charge with actual physically him putting his hands on me on unwanted bodily contact. So she interfered again. So, but it was enough to get a warrant, even because he fled the scene out. That's the first time in all these cases that he finally fled the scene. That officer was very diligent. He pressed the judge, and he was really trying to help me. And he took a warrant out for the simple assault, though, because the gentleman did fled. James Hardy is the other party that you hear me speak of in the Hardy families. Jay Hardy. He fled the scene. So we fast forward a little bit further down. All that happens, right? So now we move into the the week after my brother passes on October the 11th. I have both of those incidents happen the day of his passing. We fast forward into the next week. Okay, the next week, I'm doing a candlelight / balloon releasing balloons. Someone breaks onto my property in Conyers and steals his 4-wheeler while we're all at the candlelight releasing balloons. Go figure who stole his 4-wheeler in the middle of all this mess, right? So that happens then. And then now the following week, so now we're moving 2 weeks out after my brother's passing, and I was responsible for the burial and for everything we did for funeral arrangements. So now fast forward to the 2 weeks out, another altercation happens where on the day of my brother's funeral, after doing the funeral and quote unquote laying him to rest, the Hardys come and assault me again, and I call the police on them, and they actually end up that night at the day of my brother's funeral. I keep on trying to show you guys that this stuff is happening back to back. That the police come out there, angry, mad with me as usual, because I called them out. I'm on Facebook Live this time. I'm like, hey, listen, I call y'all out. Y'all have allowed me to be injured multiple times. Y'all have not defended my land or my property as a resident here, and I'm just lighting them up on Facebook Live. My phone dies, okay? And the officer pulls out handcuffs and begins to walk towards me with handcuffs. It's like, turn around. I'm like, whoa, wait, hold on. What are you doing? I didn't do anything wrong. I called you out here to help and to protect me. I called you out for injuries. Like, what are you doing? He says, turn around. And I back up against my house. And I'm like, get away from me. I didn't do anything wrong. You don't have a right to put your hands on me. So he grabs me. He starts violently grabs me. And I look at a corner of my eye, and I see another officer running out of my house I thought it was a gun pointed, but it wasn't a gun. It was a taser pointed at me. And I just froze. And I just let them just face plant. And I just got face planted straight down on my porch, which custom concrete, stone concrete base. So of course I ended up having to go to the hospital in ambulance. I had to leave in an ambulance from there because they messed up my. They ripped what is it called? It was damage to my neck and my neck, my lumbar, and then they did something to my shoulder too. That's in the medical report. So I had to go to ER. I was diagnosed. They said, they did X-rays. Said, oh yes, your lumbar and this. It was sprains and contusions. And then they came as soon as I got out of jail. As soon as I got out of hospital, the police met me at the hospital, and they came and they arrested me. And despite my injuries, they put me in handcuffs, grabbed me pretty violently, and threw me in the back of a police car on the day of my brother's funeral, and took me and booked me in Morgan County Jail, and threw me into a cell for 2 days. Okay, and I've never been arrested or in trouble a day of my life, and charged me, and I'm still fighting charges to this day from that ordeal. Okay, so I was arrested. I got out, and then that would just be and the story just continues. And the last element, I don't know what we're looking on time, but one more element of this, and I'm gonna start trying to wrap everything up and bringing everything, so people have time to answer questions. After I was arrested and locked up and all those things, I got out, and I filed. In the midst of that, I got a hearing from the Superior Court. The Superior Court of Rockdale County, which was a presiding judge over this case my company and me was involved in, I got a ruling in November. I was arrested on October 23rd. The ruling, of finally a verdict has been given. All this time, the judge finally renders a verdict in another county because the jurisdiction was another county at the time. I read, because the case was in another county. And the judge says, hey, I'm denying all charges against you as far as the claim on your deed. I am not ripping the deed. It is denied. You don't have to pay anything. It is denied, and you are moved from this lawsuit. And they lost on every single front via the Honorable Judge Mufford of the Superior Court of Rockdale County. So to this day, there is a Superior Court ruling that upholds my ownership, upholds my everything, and the company's integrity and everything is upheld by a Superior Court ruling. There's no other rulings that has precedent over this Superior Court ruling. No lower court has authority to say anything. It's already ruled and set upon. So after getting this ruling, I'm like, okay, wait to finish ruling, fine. All right, I'll go evict them now. And, it's no question of nothing now. It's done. I go to court to them before this trade court judge that you've heard the stories of, for interview.
Hey Derek, real quick. You're breaking up for a second. Can you?
Hey, am I back?
Yeah, you back. I want to let everybody know. I went to your page and I put the 2 videos you got. I put them up in the jumbotron and I put them up in the chat as well too. I see one is like 2 minutes and 20 seconds and another one's like 40 seconds or something. So I put those videos up in the jumbotron and in the chat, everybody. But go ahead, Derek.
Awesome. No, I just saw good deal because I want everybody to see those. So get this, everybody. Now this is it's beyond me, right? So despite everything going on, despite being kicked off my land, all the property being stolen illegally with people that have no ownership rights or interest and betrayal against the company, now we get ready. I finally get the Superior Court ruling. I've been waiting for over a year on. Finally get it. And now the game is over. They've officially lost the battle. I should be able to reclaim my land and go back home and begin to restructure our lives. I go back to this judge, which is the Morgan County Chief Magistrate Court Judge Connie Holt, and I go for the eviction. My lawyer presents our case, and hey, there's been a dispute over this property, and I'm here today with the ruling that is from the Honorable Judge Mufford of Superior Court, which shows that Derek Williamson and the Way Dynamic Animal Therapy Encounters are sole owners of this property. That means they have full right thereof to do whatever they see fit with this property. And Mr. Williamson wants all parties evicted effective as of today. As of today, the judge says something. The judge says, "Well, isn't there a case pending against him now?" I knew nothing, and my lawyer looks at me, and I look at her like, "No, don't know what the judge talking about." And the judge says, and then Janet's lawyer stands up and says, "Oh yes, I've just filed in this county against him." And against the company for a set aside of his deed. I just filed that, and my lawyer says, okay, this is interesting to me. She says, I don't really want to. I'm gonna be careful when I say this. I don't want to really say this the wrong way, but Your Honor, how did you know about this before myself nor my client knew about it, so to speak? She's pretty much saying like, we don't know anything about it. You're telling us that this case has been filed, and it wasn't filed in magistrate court. So, but then she said, I digress. This isn't the venue for that. So, so she digressed from it. And then, they says, hey, we filed these papers. We filed this against you. And then the lawyer asked my lawyer, will you accept these in court today? And my lawyer's like, and she says, Your Honor, I don't know. I mean, if I don't accept them, because this is not formal procedure for it to be served, if I don't accept them, I don't want you to base your ruling off whether I'll accept these documents or not. I'm trying to be up and fair, but this is very informal. Like, it's not the way that this is supposed to be done. And to make a long story a lot shorter, the judge denies me the eviction in court that day. Then she said, after denying me the eviction, she allowed me to take care of animals on the property, my water buffaloes, the animals that was left. She says, you are not allowed on that property at all anymore. If you go on that property, you will spend time in my jail. So at that point, she kicks me. First, she kicked me out of my house. Then she kicks me off my land. I'm going there for eviction. But then she turns an eviction into a restraining order that we're not even in court for. And then she removes me completely 100% off my land altogether at that point. So it'll be the following week that my animals, that Nicole Canoy, which is my former business partner, and the Hardys, which are the people now, they all went on the facility and they stole all the rest of my animal family. My water buffaloes were allegedly sent to slaughter. Now, my cows, my Highlander import cows, my mini cows, they were sold off to zoos in Florida, and everything was my Cercado tortoise. Everything was gone. They stole everything and killed, either slaughtered or sold all the rest that was left on the property after the judge's ruling that next week. After the team reported to me, after the animal caretakers reported to me that everything was gone, they told about the trucks in the pasture, about the tracks in the pasture, all the animals gone. That was the last part of me that broke in this process. And my water buffalo, if you see online, they're sign language trained. They're the most affectionate, loving animals. My Highlanders, man, these are they're my heart in every sense of the way. And I lost them, and to this day, I do not know. It's alleged they've been sent to slaughter because the slaughter out there that have been wanting them. And in order for the Hardys to hurt me further, we believe that's where they are. But to this day, I do not have it confirmed. I know that some of the animals have been found at other zoos. They were sold to other zoos. And after that, I went public. I took all my sorrows public. I had nothing at that point. That was the last part of me that I had left. And we needed help. So the last element of the story that I'm going to share with everybody, you see, we've been through a lot. The Judge Holt, after they stole the water buffalo, she kicked me off my land completely, gave all my company's assets over to them, including my animal family. After they stole my animals, that was my last straw. I made TikTok videos. I started making TikToks, and my TikTok ended up going viral. And I just told the story. I posted a video of the video that you guys just got to see in this chat. And then I posted the video of the officer telling me that he can't charge because of her. And after it went viral, Judge Holt recuses herself off from my case. She is still upheld. She still kicks me off my land. I'm still denied from my land. But she recused herself off my case. And y'all get this. She then she goes to her friend, another judge in her court, and filed a restraining order against me. Granted, I don't know where this woman lives. I never spoken to her outside of court. I know nothing about this woman. And files a restraining order. The very restraining orders I was asking her for when I was injured and harmed and hurt to protect my animals, she now files for that restraining order against me with nothing. And she's an elected official. And so now they agreed to the restraining order. And because my TikTok, then they filed me in contempt of restraining order because I was not, they sent a whole bunch of unmarked cars to my home and I was not home. But to my house in Conyers, they sent all these unmarked vehicles. The neighbors told me, because obviously when a judge serves you with a TPO, it's a little different than anything else. She serves me. I have a court hearing. A judge signed off, granted her that, and then I had to go to trial. And at this trial, it was interesting because there's no way an elected official is going to win, a stalking case against somebody that does not even know where she lives, or ever spoken to her, or even admits in her complaint. She wrote her complaint. He's never contacted me directly. Okay, so what's stalking? So make a long story a little bit shorter. I had to go to trial for stalking for me stalking her. My attorney did a phenomenal job in court that day. Her friend, the Superior Court judge who she finds cases over to upstairs, is the presiding judge who will rule on whether I'm guilty or innocent of stalking a chief magistrate court judge of the county. He heard the case, and initially the case was very clear. I was like, hey, there's no way I'm going to get convicted. I've never been in trouble before. I've never, this is just crazy. Like, she's doing this, just to hurt me more. It's crazy. So the judge says her case, and, the case put before it. But before we even go into the case, my lawyer says, hey, let the courts know it's improper. Well, number one, because Derek has not been a resident of this county in over a year. Judge Holt kicked him out of his home over a year ago. And plus, on top of that, she served him in another city. So she knows this is not his home nor his residence. So this case cannot go on here because stalking law dictates that it has to be served in the county of the stalker. The alleged stalker. So the judge heard it, and he was like, I forgot his exact words. It's in the transcript, but pretty much the judge says, it may not be all the way proper for me to hear this case here today, but I certainly have authority to preside over it. I am denying the venue. And I was like, are you serious? And despite the conflict of interest, she's your coworker, she's your colleague, y'all work together. You cannot try a case against me with your friend who you go to, like, y'all are You're judge friends. There's no way possible. You're not even. This shouldn't even be held in any type of. This is an elected official. Anyway, the case went on, and needless to say, we all know how that ended. I was found guilty of a maximal stalking order in Georgia of the 12 months. So therefore, they took my First Amendment right, which is freedom of speech. And if you go anywhere on my platform, you've never heard me call any elected official anything. Not one term, not one word other than corrupt. I have alleged corruption in the county, and that's the only word that anyone can bring against me in any one of my videos or anything with them. Now, there's no evidence of anything anywhere for me, because I've been very careful with how I've approached the situation in our PR, and I've chose to be up and up and be a good faith. And they found me guilty of the maximum stalking order in Georgia. I am barred from going into the courthouse anywhere within 200 yards of the courthouse, or I will be arrested and charged with a felony 10 and face up to 10 years in prison if I do. So I can't even handle business in the courthouse anymore. She is an elected official. She is subject to scrutiny. As a court, my lawyer litigated that. She's subject to scrutiny. And even if I did say anything, I had a right. It's my First Amendment right to say anything I want about an elected official. Mm-hmm.
Secondary, because you've given a lot of information. I want you
I mean, I was just listening to him go in because I mean, you can tell this is his life. So I'm just I'm just sitting back listening, and this is a lot of information.
Yeah, that court situation, because they're literally systematically using the legal system to like frame you as a criminal.
Yes.
Framing you.
Yes. Been framed.
So
they
with
won.
The lawyers, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, yes, you're right. I'm just saying, no, you're right. They've been framing me, and they've been getting convictions. I have all these convictions on me. I've never been in trouble a day of my life until now.
What type of legal representation do you have? Because I mean, it seems like you have a bunch of evidence and stuff, from the actual the court, everything being in your name, the corporation and everything else, the nonprofit, just exactly what type of what type of information. I mean, what type of representation do you have? Because man, there's so much stuff that you can really just go ahead and point to that. I just don't even see how this stuff can even hold up. I mean, you definitely got to get some heavy hitters in there. And I know financially with losing everything that you may not just be able to afford it, man. But I mean, I just don't see how they could proceed and win this case with everything that you have. And you're saying it, and you're alleging that they beat on you and they assaulted you and everything else like that. I'm gonna say this first off, you better than I am, because we would have got to it straight up, like all of that, like coming on my property and this and that or whatever. But nonetheless, I know you got the ministry and everything else, but just I just cannot believe that all of this is going down and you don't have lawyers just beating down your door trying to get this case.
Not one. Other than a lawyer, I do have a civil defense attorney, and we've been defensive this whole time, and we've been on the defense side trying to defend, and my lawyer has done a great job of trying to defend myself and the animals. But we need an attorney who's gifted and wants to take on the accountability and offensive side of it. We're just making the court. The only thing about having a good attorney, unless a heavy hitter comes in with it that has that influence, that has that that influence, because the judges are hearing this stuff, they don't care. They're not listening. The attorney is quoting law. Obviously this is clear. All this stuff is plain as day to us, even to lay people, like normal people. But the judges are not wanting to comply. They feel that they are above the Constitution. They feel that they are above, our natural civil rights. And they're doing this in a malicious manner in order to further, in order to further harm. This situation is personal to them in Morgan County. It's very personal to them, and they have not been withstood. We've been on the civil defense side, but I've been hoping. I've reached out to hundreds of lawyers. I've reached out to many of them. It's like no lawyers like that. They get into gravity going against judges and counties, and now it's a high profile case. It's like most lawyers like, yeah, it's not. I'm not really. Trying to get into that. That's a little bit too much. I don't have the time or energy to get into all that. But like, man, so I'm still telling the story, hoping that somebody hears my story and say, hey, listen, we gotta do something about this. These judges cannot keep on doing this. The judge does not even have a law degree. She does not have a Juris Doctorate. She was a hairdresser. She has been on the bench for over 23 years, and she has reigned unopposed. Nobody's ever even run against her, whether they're scared to run against her or what. They refuse to run against her, and she has been a judge all this time with no law degree, and just went to school some years back to become a paralegal.
Hey, Derek, let me ask you a question real quick. Do you mind, because we got a few hands up in here, and I'm sure people want to ask you a question. So do you mind fielding a couple questions? Okay.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. Yeah, we're good. Go ahead.
Okay, DJ, you there? You see if DJ's in the space. Hey, DJ, you up in the space?
Yeah, he's here.
Yeah, I'm here.
I thought I had you as a co-host.
I know you was DJ. Be more in the house. That's my cousin. You know what I'm saying?
I thought it knocked you down the speaker because I thought I had you as a co-host.
Yeah. No, I got kicked out. Switched my network. I'm in the studio. What's good, fam? Newstoter family. How y'all doing? Hey, brother Derek. I'm sorry you're going through that, man. You know, hopefully, Allah can shut it up for you. I got the sister up here for you. So let's go.
Okay, real quick, because I'm gonna send you the co-host invite. Let me know if you can accept it before we get to Aunt Live real quick. So let me.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I was just like I said, I was walking in the studio. So
okay.
You know, I had the groceries in one hand. You know, I had the
So you got the co-host invite because I'm gonna step away for 1 second. So I want you just to keep the room and check real quick while everybody's asking questions, guys. Definitely to also remember that the brother's been through quite an ordeal, so let's be respectful as possible and courteous as possible as well too. I'm going to step away from 1 second. I'll be right back. So DJ, we got Miss Giselle up here with you guys. You guys go ahead and definitely hold it down for a second, and I'll be right back in a couple minutes.
No, I take it down, bro. You know, in a rush. I'm up there. But go ahead, though. What's good, my co-host, buddy? How you doing?
Hey, hello.
And Derek, thank you so much for telling your entire story. I want you to. Did you want to have some people ask some questions? Or
yes, I'll go ahead. No, we can definitely go ahead and entertain some questions.
Hey, yeah. So go ahead real quick, because I pulled you up here for this particular reason. I was out doing my thing, you know what I'm saying? And I got some good news too, Sister Larisha. But Mr. Derek, this is Larisha right here. This is our resident expert attorney. But go ahead, though, Sister. Appreciate it in the building.
Peace, Black Power, and reparations. How you doing? I'm so sorry this happened to you. I just have a couple of quick questions for you. Just so you know, I was a probation officer for 9 years, and I worked for the court, so I have some questions for you. Number one, did you file any complaints?
Yes, I did. I filed a complaint with the Judicial Qualification Commission, and they dismissed it. It was under investigation. I sent them tons of documents and videos and everything. They dismissed it they said that on the basis of her evicting me from my land despite ownership. She said that needs to be handled in the courts of appeals, and she dismissed it. She didn't talk about interfering with arrests or all that.
Did you appeal it?
I have not appealed it yet. No.
Make sure you do everything in your power to appeal everything they do. You have to be really, really petty. I'm gonna tell you. I don't want to tell you history about my case, but if you hit me on the back channel, I'll tell you everything that I did in my case. I filed a lawsuit in federal court with no attorney against the New Jersey judiciary in federal court for discrimination. I couldn't get an attorney to take my case. So you have to be just as petty. Make sure you file every appeal, because what happens when you get to the next level, they're going to say, oh, you didn't file this appeal or you didn't do this, because they're giving you avenues. That's number one. So make sure whatever decision they give you and you don't agree with it, file that appeal. Number two, you have to go to the U.S. attorney. If I'm not mistaken, are you in Georgia?
I am in Georgia. Yes, that's correct.
Okay, you have to go to the U.S. attorney because what happens is when you're dealing with public corruptions case, you can do civilly. I don't know who your attorney is, but your attorney is not because the attorneys are licensed by the court. So there's a lot of things that the attorneys don't do because they know they have to go through the court to get their license, and they are, they're sworn in by the court. They got to get trained by the court. So you're not going to find an attorney that will advocate for you in your area. What you need to do is you need to go to the U.S. District Attorney for wherever you are, and you need to file a complaint with them, and you need to have them investigated. In addition to that, you need to contact the Judicial Committee for the state government branch, and you need to send it all to them. If you can get a change.org petition and get signatures, because they care about, quote unquote, the electorate and how many people are behind you. Make sure you go to the U.S. attorney and file a complaint with them and have them investigate it for you. because it's you. The reason why she did that court order against you. So now because you didn't file a complaint against her. So now when you file a complaint against her, guess what? You're violating the court order. They're trying to criminalize you and making you a slave. So now they're holding you accountable with these convictions. That's literally what they're doing. So now when you complain about her, you're violating the court order. Which is, again, you can complain about somebody because she's a public official. So just make sure you dot your I's and cross your T's. File all your appeal. Every time there's something that you have to appeal. I got fired from my job for FMLA, and I had a pending EEO complaint, and they sent me that complaint while I was fired. And while I was fired, I sent it back in appeal where I didn't agree with their decision. And I didn't even have a job anymore. Make sure you dot your I's, because now we're in federal court. I have 2 lawsuits, federal and state court. And they said, well, they tried to dismiss my complaint saying she didn't exhaust all of her administrative means, meaning she didn't file here, she didn't file here. And I had over 30 complaints in 9 years. I filed everywhere. There's nowhere that I wouldn't. So please do that.
Thank you.
Go to the U.S. attorney and go to your local, the Congress people, whoever, Georgia is a Republican state, so it's kind of hard. Continue with your YouTube. Go live on YouTube if you want to do a YouTube together. I really don't have that much of a following, but if you want to do a YouTube together to talk about your case, definitely can do that. If you need an attorney, because you need a Johnny Cochran, somebody who's not scared of the corruption of the public officials around you. And like you said, she didn't even go to law school for a judge. I have more education than her. So it's just about a matter of they're using their white supremacy against you. You have to use the system against them. And that's why you go to the U.S. attorney, because they have to open up a complaint. And what you do, don't have conversations with people. Put everything in writing. No, you don't have any conversation. When you talk I called the FBI to complain about my situation. The FBI literally asked, why am I calling them? Like, are you kidding me? Got an FBI. So you have to make sure you put things in writing to everybody. It's a form that you can fill out, that I have a copy of. Hit me and DM me, and I'll give you all the forms, but you definitely need the U.S. attorney, because the U.S. attorney will take over the prosecution and investigation on your behalf. The attorney general for the state is also going to do that. Well, they're supposed to do that. But again, it's a Republican state, and I don't want to say that they're not going to do it because they're Republican. I'm saying you have to do your part by filing the complaints and dotting your I's and crossing your T's. So you have to file with the Attorney General for the state, the U.S. attorney, and go to your congressperson and just let them know everything they're doing. Everything they're doing. Again, you're doing good with your TikTok. You're doing good with documenting, but you have to be just as petty as they are with these appeals. Because if you could get a restraining order against you, then you should get one against her. You got to give them the same energy. But definitely hit me in the back channels to talk about it more, because I need more details. And stop calling the police, please. Don't call them anymore. Friends. Don't call them no more. Have cameras around wherever you are now. I don't know if you can move. I don't know if you have a real estate attorney as far as getting your property back, but basically, I'm trying to think of ways I can help you. Just hit me in the back channel, because I can think outside the box on different things.
Derek, if you sign up for our Black American website, social, SOXCIAL.com, should be in the Jumbotron. I'll put it in the chat. We got some real estate folks for you. Don't worry, bro.
Hey, real quick, I'm back, and I want to ask Derek a question before we get to the other speakers. Thank you, Aunt Lai. I'm sorry I missed you, but Derek, do you have any kind of are you doing any kind of GoFundMe or anything of that nature? Anything?
Yeah, so the GoFundMe that's been up is Help Derek Stop the Hardys from Stealing His Farm. So that's been a GoFundMe, and usually if you Google my name, Derek Williamson, it comes up, or you can type in a GoFundMe, Help Derek Stop the Hardys from Stealing His Farm. That's been a GoFundMe. Okay,
you definitely I definitely should have told you for the space, definitely, so we could have went ahead and put that up in the Jumbotron for you. But when you get a chance, go ahead and tweet that out. Tweet that out, and we'll go ahead and we'll try to tweet it out for you as much as possible too. But definitely, when you have something like that and you have a chance to put it on any kind of platform, definitely always give a shout out to your GoFundMe as well. So people, that they may want to support, they can go ahead and support you. So let me go ahead and get to Jess Cakes. Jess Cakes, how you doing tonight?
Hey, how everybody doing? Thanks for hosting the space. I was actually just looking up his website. I was going to post it in the Jumbotron for him. I don't have a TikTok, so I can't post the videos that y'all referring to into the Jumbotron, so people don't have to, try to go all over the internet to try to find them and stuff like that. The only thing that I think Miss Larisha gave great advice as far as appealing all the decisions you don't agree with. And also, is it possible that y'all can have a change in venue? Because it's not. What's happening is he's getting railroaded. That's pretty much what's going on. So he don't have a great chance of getting heard, as we've seen already where he at. So I don't know if he could apply for a change of venue. But yeah, I'm gonna post his website, his GoFundMe or his crowdfunding thing in the Jumbotron. Can you repeat what it was?
Hey Derek, can you repeat what your GoFundMe was? So she wants to try to go ahead and find it so she could put it in the actual Jumbotron here. Hopefully, let me see. Maybe Derek may be in the Matrix. Derek, can you hear us? I see it looks like he could possibly be in the Matrix, guys. You know how these spaces are, unfortunately, and he's new to the actual Twitter spaces as well, too. This is his first time. He hasn't been on Twitter much. So hey Derek.
Oh, too. So I'm gonna drop him. You want to drop him down and pull him back up? You can probably do that.
Okay, yeah, let me try to go ahead and remove him from speaker and see if that might make a difference. Yeah, we should have definitely got the brothers got his where is he at? Okay, I see him. Let me bring him back up here real quick. Let's see if we can get him back up here. And real quick, guys, up in the Jumbotron, we do have the Newstoter YouTube channel up there, so definitely subscribe. We building, we closing in on close to 1,500 subscribers. So anybody in the space that has not subscribed, definitely go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel. For all my people on YouTube, guys, make sure you share this broadcast out tonight as well. Share this broadcast out. Share it to all the social media platforms for everybody that's in the space and listening on the broadcast. Make sure that you follow Newstoter on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest. Stay in touch with us. So follow us on all the social media platforms all the time. For those that can support, $Newstoter, $Newstoter. Newstoter is the largest Black-owned Black American news media curation platform today in America. Once again, Newstoter is the largest Black-owned Black American news media curation platform today in America. $Newstoter, $Newstoter. And like I say, the motto is, if you got $1 that you can spare, definitely go ahead and donate it to a worthwhile cause, which is Newstoter, the largest Black-owned Black American curation platform today in America. If you do not have Cash App, we have the Venmo and PayPal up in the Jumbotron. And for those that's on YouTube, all of those are up in the actual description. I want to go ahead and get to Derek. Before I get to the uncouth, Derek, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Jess Cake, she wants to go ahead. She wants you to repeat your actual GoFundMe so she can go ahead and find it and try to put it up in the Jumbotron for everybody.
Absolutely. It's help Derek, DERRICK, stop the Hardys, HARDES, from stealing his farm.
Okay, so
just real quick, I was going to say, Derek, I know you're new to Twitter or whatever the case be, but you know how to follow people back?
Let me see. I do. Let me see. Hold on.
Yeah. I follow majority of the folks in this room, man. We all good peoples up here, and we up here every day with each other. So, all the folks I've seen in the room, OG right there, Trouble, Sister She Means Biz, a brother Original right there, Straight No Chaser, shout out to the room, you know what I mean? Shannon right there, Brandon right there, shout out to the room, you know what I mean?
I'll follow I'll learn in TikTok, but I'm gonna just go ahead and just sit here to follow back on everybody. I can pull it up. I'm able to pull it up. I just hit a follow
Derek back. Yeah, follow Derek back.
Just follow everybody. Everybody that's on it. I'm just here to follow everybody.
All right.
I gotcha.
Thank you, Derek. And Let me go ahead and get to the uncouth. What's going on? Unmute your mic. How you doing tonight?
Peace to the room, peace to the room. As my namesake, the uncouth, I don't have a lot of common sense when it comes to white supremacists. So excuse me if I come off as cynical. No disrespect, brother. I hear your story. First, I need to understand the pathology of how did you entrust white people so much. I just want to know that because it seemed to me that you have your spirit seems good from afar through Elon Musk's Twitter. It seems pure, so I'm not attacking you. My understanding of the situation is that you were helping people and they backdoored you. You know, this is a typical action in street culture. You don't seem to be of that lifestyle. So again, this is no disrespect, but I just need to understand how one could basically help somebody work with these people, let these people live in your space, and then it turns like completely left. Understanding where were you thinking that this possibly should have went? I understand that you're an animal lover. That's a view to therapy. That's a great business. So I get it. Again, this is more trying to understand where you come from when understanding that this is the history of our people in this country. Like, this is what they do. So I'm just like confused when somebody says, I'll co-sign for you or let me live with you, but they have all this money and then they pick out something and there's no radar, there's no spider sense, there's nothing in your soul that says, this don't feel right for you to put yourself in a situation, because at the end of the day, you've lost probably the most prized things to you, which were the animals. So at the end of you're just really, this is about land. This is a land grab. And no disrespect. You're in Georgia. The history of Georgia with like the penal system, it's the oldest penal system in the country. Like understanding like where you like really what is happening to you. People from the north, I heard the sister speak about New Jersey, has nothing on the south. Like it has no disrespect. Georgia in and of itself is a penal colony state. It is the worst of the worst of the worst. It would be very hard for somebody in that judiciary to even want to associate themselves with, because like you said, they are friends at the country club. So again, brother, this is not any slight against you. I empathize with you, but I need to understand how can somebody be so caring to allow somebody to pretty much put you. It sounds like they had this plan. They picked out the land. They picked out this particular land. This seems like a play, and I don't know if you feel that, but just listening to the story, it seems like this was a big plot. Like you were the perfect storm. Your old coworker is working with these people to do all this. They picked out the land. They finance it, helping you finance and doing all this stuff. When in America was a white person help a black person like that? That's all. It's not even it's rhetorical. I really don't want you, because I don't want to bring that out. But as just a human being having a human experience, it bothers me that this is happening. Number one, but it also bothers me that I never met a good white person. I've never met a good white person in my life. So for that to happen, and it's like, okay, well, you only have the land now. So I get it. You're probably going to put yourself in a lot of financial ruin trying to fight for something that at the end of the day, you have a criminal record out here, or you might have a criminal record. Like I'm going to cut our losses. Like I get it, but I just have those type of questions, because it's like, bro, like I really feel for you. But at the end of the day, like, how you let people come into your circle and then not have no type of gumption of knowing that this is what they've done to our people for 400 plus years. And I'll pull my chair. You don't have to answer it, but that's where my spirit is coming from. Like, bro, this is historical. This is happening to you. This has been played out time and time again. And I'm gonna pull my chair again. No disrespect to you, brother. And I wish you the best of luck.
No, I
really, really do.
No, I appreciate that.
Hey, real quick, Derek, I just want to let people know that we got the actual GoFundMe up in the Jumbotron as well, too, guys. It's on the far left-hand side, so definitely go ahead. It's up in the Jumbotron, folks. So for anybody that can and would like to go ahead and donate to them, Derek, I know you want to go ahead and answer that as well too. So I'll say this real quick before he answers. You know, from my understanding, he has a ministry. So you know, the brother was in his mind, he was doing the Christian thing. You know, so I'm gonna let him go ahead and you know, and give the answer to how he feels about this. So let's go ahead and let him get it in. Go ahead, Derek. I see you, Mr. Zell. I'm gonna bring you back up.
Yeah, so no, I appreciate that, man. I love your presentation, just the way you said it. It was very non-threatening. And to answer your question, man, at the end of the day, man, I'm 28 years old, man. I've been doing this for just a couple of years now, man. There's a lot that I'll be very pointed at that I do not know. I know what I know, and I don't know what I don't know. I did not see the brutal realities of how racism is so deeply embedded in this world until it's quote unquote knocked on my front door violently. Yes, I've had issues in the past. Yes, I've had all that. But to this magnitude, I can say that I did not see it. And I had tunnel vision on the mission. I had a mission to complete. I had a mission. I had a drive. I had a vision. And when things came into alignment with what I felt and what I saw and the evidence behind it, yes, I did move accordingly. And I did get that. One thing I will say is this: I did the best because I do understand to some capacity how things can go south, right? I get that. I just want to help. That's first and foremost. I came in this situation to help. It was nothing more, nothing less. Despite whether they were young, old, black, white, I understood that I had a heart to help. And I get that. And I made sure that even with them doing all this, there was red flags at some point. If you heard me say, I questioned, well, where did this come from and this and this? But I thought in order for me to soothe the red flags that I had, I'll take power from you. I'll take power from them to influence the situation. For example, they have no ownership. And I thought that at the end of the day, like, how much harm can you do to me when you don't have a dog in the fight? So therefore, at the end of the day, I did protect us. I did do my due diligence and make sure that they had no ownership in anything. So therefore, they didn't have the power to govern, is what I thought. But when you mobilize the whole judicial system, we move it into a whole different ballgame of betrayal and trust. But initially, I made sure that there's no code, nothing on this. If you look through all my story, there's no code together. The deal was that it had to go into the company's name. Everything is in my company's name. So in the event that something went south, in order to protect my ministry, my organization as a shepherd, in the event that true colors did come out, it was easy for me to just separate from it. It's so I thought, if that makes sense. So I tried to protect us. And I tried to see those red flags. I thought in order to crush every red flag, to take power from you, so you didn't have what you thought you could over me in this ministry. But needless to say, they mobilized a set of forces that were a hell of a lot stronger than anything that I anticipated, which is the judicial system. To answer your question, it was never. I tried to protect them. I tried to protect us, making sure not to give them ownership. They don't have any ownership here. They have nothing here. They're bullying their way here, and they have allies that are strong.
And real quick, Derek, and that makes perfect sense. But and I understand what Uncouth is saying too. You had everything your advantage, and this is definitely not to come at you, brother. And I appreciate you coming up here telling your story. You had everything on paper that it appeared to be in your favor. But the one thing you always have to remember is that, like you say, the system is set up in place that a certain group of people, no matter what you have on paper, because for the longest, our people had things in paper and every contract and everything else. But when they really, really want to get it, they can get it. They have access, like you say, the judges, the police, this person, that person, everything else is all in their favor as well, too. So, definitely, definitely down the road, definitely look out for that type of situation. I know, and I believe that you actually tried to do the best thing. The girl was pregnant, like you said, and this and that, and you tried to go ahead and offer a helping hand, but that was red flag. That was a red flag right there. You have a white girl pregnant and her mother, and they talk about living in your property and stuff like that. And I know with the ministry and you're doing God's work and everything else, the Lord is colorblind and this and that, but the Lord may be colorblind, but here on planet Earth, the way things work is not a colorblind system. So, you definitely have to be so careful of how you do that. You have to be careful if you go into business with friends or family, let alone even strangers as well too. And like I say, I don't fault you. For what happened, because this is just like the Uncle said. This seemed like this is almost plotted out. Like, hey, you know what, we see this dude has this, he has that. And it's almost like, almost how people have done for years, using almost a dummy company to go ahead and get what they wanted. It's like they saw you as the perfect person. You were the perfect front man. And then when they could go ahead and get into it, they went ahead and they started to dig in. So, I don't, like you say, you're a young man and stuff like that as well. You're in Georgia, I'm in Florida. So the history of Florida and Georgia and the deep South and this country as well is definitely well known. So like I say, I definitely want to see you get some legal representation. I know it's got to be somebody out there that's willing to go ahead and take your case or whatnot. But for the simple fact that you could have something, you could have a nonprofit and everything else set up, like you say, 100,000 shares, and you own all the shares, yet you have this judge and you have all these people in cahoots, allegedly, I'll say, just for the sake of the actual space and everything else, from the evidence you're showing. This is just it's just shocking to see in a sense, but in a sense, it's not, because we come to expect this kind of stuff in America. We discuss this type of stuff on the platform all the time. So, for us, we know that, hey, this should not even, this should have been dismissed. The fact of the matter that, they're sitting up here saying that, that once they transferred that into your actual company or whatever, that should have been the end of it. They should have had no actual stake in it whatsoever. They had no dog in the fight. But for the fact of the matter that they could get together, be on code, because that's part of white supremacy, be on code, have a judicial system in their favor, have the law, have the media, have everybody else sitting up here laying down the groundwork, even the other judge who knows damn well. Now you have a judge, like you said, you've never done anything to her. You weren't sending her threatening phone calls. You weren't keying the car. You weren't doing none of this right here. She can sit up here. Judge can sit up here and file this file like this stalking type claim against you. Then another judge and buddy with her can sit up here and go ahead and resign. This just goes to show you that this is the most powerful force on earth, bar none. You could talk about a nuclear missile and all this other kind of stuff, but this is the most powerful entity on the face of this earth right here. And when in code, hey, you don't stand a chance. So you just got to remember that. And like I say, shout out to you. I'm glad that you're getting out there. I want you to keep telling your story. I want you to go to platform and keep letting everybody know what's going on. And we're going to do our best to try to get it out there. But this is the power. This is the scary thing that can happen, even with everything, even with everything you've done. And let's be for real. This is, as Uncouth was saying, this is history. Like, you can go ahead and extend the olive branch. You can go ahead and shake a certain group of people's hands, but you got to watch out for them willing something in your back the minute you turn around. Like, nothing you do is ever good enough, or whatever you got is really, they don't really believe that you deserve it. So I'm not going to hold it. I'm going to let you go ahead and say something. And we got a couple hands up, so I know a couple people want to speak. But go ahead, Derek.
No, absolutely. And just in the wrap up off that end of the day, man, to everybody under the sound of my voice, like I said, I'm young. There's a lot of stuff that I am learning and I'm developing into life. And I did not go in this process with all, I'd say, hey, if I own everything, then what is there much to talk about if things go south? That was my concept moving into this. I admit that I made mistakes along this process, and it's part of the mistakes that I made is contributed to the seat that I sit in today. But I believe in my heart at the end of the day it's twofold, meaning that number one is that despite everything that's happening, wrong is wrong. And these people must be brought into accountability. That's one. And I feel that way, even wrong when people cross that line, it's getting on platforms, us applying the pressure to make people do the right things. I'm happy that another part of supremacy was exposed in my situation, and they must be dealt with accordingly to stop this type of behavior for them thinking that this is okay. And then secondly, what this does for me is, man, this has created an advocate for me, for my people out of this. And I'm telling you, working through this process has begun to put a fire and a righteous anger inside of me that has turned me into an advocate to fight types of injustice like this. So in some aspects, yeah, my radar has been turned on tremendously to this. I'm going to sit alongside you guys on platforms now and advocate other stories, man, and go to bat against situations like this. So at one part of it, yes, it sucked because yes, I was trusting. Yes, I did make a mistake. And in fact, at the end of the day, I don't think anyone owns that mistake more than me. I had animals lose their lives through this process. All right. So I get that part, and I know I'm in the process now of rebuilding, but at the same time, accountability must be brought forth, and I'm going to make sure to not stop until that's done, and then advocate for others in similar situations.
No doubt. No doubt.
Newstoter, I just want to give like 10 more seconds again, brother. I do not. This is not an attack on your character. I hear the pain in your voice. I just want you to be mindful that these types of situations, when you even in a trusting moment, when a person is fellowshipping with you, always, when that radar first went off, brother, don't ever second guess yourself. That's right. This is not an attack against you, brother. I understand. No, we're on the same page. We're on the same page, man. We are on the same page. Yeah. But that's all. I appreciate you for the time, Newstoter. No, absolutely, man. No, thank you, brother. I like questions like that. No, I appreciate you speaking up and saying that, man. But I really appreciate that. And hey, man, I may have 99 problems in life right now, but I promise you, discerning situations of people ain't gonna be one of them as much. I promise you, I'm not gonna be as blindsided as I was before. But listen, I'm on game now. Believe me, I promise you that. The game has changed for me.
Hey,
I'll take the next question if you want, unless somebody else had comments.
Yeah, we got a couple people. Yeah, but you live and you learn, brother. So I mean, this is just a learning experience, and hopefully it'll not only will it make you tougher, but we also hope that you get justice as well too. We got a couple new hands up here, so I want to go ahead and get to them.
Going in on that, just to piggyback off on that, make it a four-way conversation. The problem is with that, I kind of got to disagree a little something with Coop said, because I just had this conversation with my uncle today. I was with him all day, you know what I mean? So at the end of the day, my argument about that is he shouldn't have to have an N-word wake-up moment. He should have been told, hey, look, we might be going along to get along with these white supremacists, because they killed our ancestor Martin, but we ain't going to forget. You see what I'm saying? Nobody taught you that, because a lot of us never was taught that. So, we go along to get along and shit, you know what I'm saying? Excuse my French, but, that's the game. So, you had to go through that Bruce Wayne moment, the N-word wake-up moment, you know what I'm saying? In order to understand what it, hey, you don't swallow the big red pill now, and now you can't look back. You know what
Absolutely.
I'm saying? So, this is the type of narrative and spaces we need to start having on a daily basis, having with our people. So, this is the whole reason. Follow everybody. Make sure y'all follow Newstoter, the most black curated news on the web. Come up to social. We'll be trying to aggregate this data and be amongst each other. You know what I mean? At least up here on the web. Go ahead, though.
Real talk. Let's go ahead, Derek. I know and we're not going to keep you too much later. We're going to get a couple of speakers in here, and then we're going to probably go ahead.
Absolutely. No, we're good. Go ahead. We're good.
Okay. Let me go ahead and get to OG. And guys, make sure if you can, like I say, definitely donate on the GoFundMe. We have that up in the Jumbotron as well too. For those that can afford it, please go ahead and think about donating. Let me go ahead and get the OG. OG, how you doing tonight?
Hey, I'm fine, everybody. I appreciate it, Newstoter. Shout out to you for holding this space. Shout out to Miss G, DJ, you guys are hosting. Appreciate this space. Shout out to you too, Derek, and the room, everybody in the room. Listen, I hate to admit it, I'm kind of befuddled. I mean, there's only been solution-based that can be offered up, basically, because really nothing we can do to pile on to the situation. But wow, I mean, trying to figure out where to start. Listen, I realize you have a ministry, and you loving, caring, and whatnot, hospitable, all those good natured things. But listen, there are warring angels in heaven for a reason. And we don't have to know what that reason is, but they're there. Okay, so when things go down in heaven, it's going to get taken care of. Okay, because those warring angels, that's what it says. Okay. Now listen, we don't have the warring angels here on earth and all, or as far as being within our spirits, but we have something else. Okay, and since we know that there are warring angels in heaven for a reason, then we also know how we have to be formidable ourselves here on this planet, okay? So we have to find ways to be formidable, okay? And if you want to be formidable and nice at the same time, that's fine too. I happen to be a Libra, you know. But you got to find some ways to, you know, go to the state, you know, with all the internal strife that the state of Georgia had, like with the election and all this kind of stuff. The state attorney.
OG, that's you with the dogs in the back. That's you with the dogs in the back.
Go check on her real quick. I was about to say.
Yeah.
Make sure it's good. You know, get strapped. You know what I'm saying?
With the state of Georgia, you know, with the state of Georgia, I mean, it's, you know, they went after the Secretary of State. Okay, on the national level, they were trying to go after him. He's a Republican. He's a white guy. Okay, so they have their airs of disagreements amongst themselves. Okay, so my whole point is that seems like you should have been able to go to the state attorney somehow and get something going. You know, and maybe you didn't trust anybody in the whole state. I don't know the whole situation because, you know, we weren't there. We you know, and any information we get, I mean, it's still not going to clue us in to perfectly know, you know, what it is we need to say to you. I mean, you know, definitely my heart goes out to you, and you know, I wish the best, and you know, I'm gonna probably try to figure out what I can think of, you know, in these next days and weeks to come, and you know, but I just don't know, man. It just seems like a lot that I don't understand why your attorneys didn't know to go to the state attorney. I don't know why whoever was representing you in any capacity at all, whatever. I don't see why they weren't able to advise you, you know, to keep this thing from snowballing the way it had, you know, all the way from, you know, you just walking through the front door and then encountering certain things. I don't see why whoever was representing you to whatever capacity, I don't understand why they weren't able to advise you on some other level as far as going to the state. And as far as this judge that's been on the seat for 22 years or 20 how many ever years and don't have a law degree or you know, whatever, hadn't been in law school, whatever the case with that foul judge is, or that fake judge or whatever, I don't understand how come the state hasn't been able to attack her. I don't understand it. So, you know, Georgia is a precarious type of state. It's like they said with the penal system there in Georgia. I'm very familiar with it, by the way, and I don't have to disclose how I'm very familiar with it, but I know basically many of the ins and outs of that Georgia penal system, okay? So my whole point is, though, it's precarious. The whole state is precarious, okay? And there's no real consistency. I mean, the state can have you turning on your brother if you're not careful, okay? So, you know, before I start rambling on and feeling like I'm babbling, you know, I'll just say, you just got to keep in mind. You just got to keep in mind that there's always some kind of oversight that can be, you know, adhered to. Okay, there's some kind of oversight that you can, you know, go by. And I haven't heard you mention about the state attorneys and whatnot. So that would be one of my only suggestions at this point is to go to a state attorney. I mean, but maybe somebody's already suggested that. I mean, maybe people have exhausted the, you know, ideas, or, you know, maybe they've given you ideas ad nauseum. I don't know. It's just that it's kind of a wild thing to me to see how a judge can come in and interfere, you know, on site, on the spot, real time arrest procedure. I don't understand that.
Hey, OG, we got to get to a couple of other speakers, but I appreciate
it. I'm sorry, I didn't want to. That's why I didn't really want. I didn't intend to say much at all, or either speak but I felt compelled, and I just want to suggest to the brother to seek out the state attorney. Just whether you do it in secret or however you do it, just the state attorney should be able to get you some kind of lineup or whoever was in your corner.
I
Appreciate that.
OG.
I wish you the best, brother. I wish you the best. I just can't understand it. Thank you, guys.
Hey, OG, man, I appreciate you taking a moment to comment in. I really appreciate that. And one thing about me, I'm trying to do my due diligence, man. I've actually went to the Capitol myself and went up there and tried to speak with representatives and people like that. I've spoken to the Judicial Qualification Commission. I've sent emails. I've reached out to Kemp. I'm telling you, I've done the best I can to reach who I can reach in my sphere. And thanks to the little bit of publicity, I'm able to have a little bit of a bigger scope. But I'm still reaching, and that's why I'm asking people on platforms like this. That's why I'm still doing interviews. I'm still trying to reach and trying to get people to help connect me to people, connect me to platforms, to share the story. Because I'm reaching, I'm doing my due diligence. But Lord knows, I've called 1,000 lawyers, been on the Capitol, reached out to representatives, the whatnot, the whole nine. I've been trying, and it's just like I feel like I can't get a ground to shake.
And
All right.
Keep fighting, brother, and keep fighting and stay forever young, man. Stay forever young.
I appreciate it.
That's no downfall. You're young, so be that.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir. I appreciate that.
Thank you. No problem, OG. Let me go ahead and get to Trouble. Oh, you had something to say, Miss Giselle?
I just wanted to interject for this one part. This is why, like on the Twitter group, we're learning from a lot of people. A lot of the lawyers and the court systems, the judges, everyone is complicit. They're all in the same. They're linked up, and it's almost like they're told, "Hey, you can't take this case on. Just don't take on this type of case," and things like this. This is why it's important that we have our own legal team. However, what's even more important is that we need federal and state protections.
Yeah.
This brother is the second one in the last year, and this is among many whose voices were never even heard.
Yeah.
And that's just for the land, and that is so many other cases that's happening where we are being ignored by the justice system, and it cannot go on anymore. This is why we are not only pursuing federal and state protection, but we are pursuing our reparations. So,
Absolutely. Let me give a shout out to, I see Brooke over there on YouTube. Shout out to Brooke. What's up, Brooke? I see you up in the Twitter space as well too. So shout out to that sister. Let me go ahead and get to we're gonna get to Trouble. We're gonna get to Straight No Chaser. We're gonna get to Just Cakes, and then we're gonna probably get ready to end the space for the night as well, guys. So like I say, Derek was I appreciate Derek for coming on the platform. Hopefully we can get him up to Dana's platform, because Dana has I know Miss Giselle, she's working on that. Dana has a pretty good sized YouTube channel where she has about 60,000 subscribers. So we go ahead and get him some more publicity and get him out there as well too. That's why, guys, I always say it is vital to support the Black media as much as possible. I know that's why we don't ask for a lot. We just say $1 here, $1 there, because every little bit helps. Also support Derek on GoFundMe for those that are able to as well too. Any little bit will help him as well too, guys. So any little bit that you can muster up will definitely help the brother as well too. So that's why we got to keep our networks going. We got to keep everything flowing. That's why I say always support the Black media, whether it's a new Black media, it's the independent Black media, it's a small Black media, it's a middle-sized Black media. Anybody that's going out there putting out the work, definitely go ahead and support them. And you can always support us on Cash App, $Newstoter, $Newstoter. Like I say, $1 does work. So if you guys have that and you can donate it, we greatly appreciate it. If you have Venmo, PayPal, you can also donate there as well. Let me go ahead and get my sister Trouble up here. Trouble, what's going on with you tonight?
Hey, Newstoter, DJ, and Miss Giselle. Shout out to the Black family in the room. Derek, brother, I'm sorry that you are going through what you are. It's a travesty I appreciate you coming on the space and telling us your story. And I don't know how we can help, but hopefully, we can all come up with some ways at some point. I just have a couple of questions. I want to know if it's possible for you to go back through the court to where you said it was the Supreme Court, where the judge had actually ruled in your favor and said what was already known that the lower court should have known, as far as that being your property and your corporation and your business and everything being yours. If it's possible to go back through that route, number one. Number two, what is it that your lawyers or your attorneys are doing next? Do they have a game plan for the next steps of what it is that they need for you to do, or that they're planning to do to help your case in any way? And then I would like to know your summary and where you're going to go from here. What are you thinking? How is it that we can help?
No, absolutely. So to answer your first question, it would be great if I could have went through the initial avenue that I won the Superior Court verdict in, and that which should still stand to this day, because there's no other verdict. When there's no other verdict, you go by the verdict that's been put in place. But they've ignored that. I wish we could do that, but as Dr. Rashad Ritchie said, undisputable, they've been doing something called judge shopping. So when they lost in Rockdale County, they out there, the corrupt, all my case, dismiss what they had, the stuff they had filed, and it got away from and put it all out. Morgan County, with everything is in their circuit. It's in the hands. The very judge, the very judge that found me guilty of stalking his colleague, the chief magistrate court judge, he is now the judge that's set to preside over my entire farm.
So what is the next steps for your attorneys? Have they spoken to you about that?
Yes.
Something
so
fun?
Right. Yes. And to answer that question, they're saying that we're just gonna keep on. We're just gonna keep on dealing with the big things and litigating law and making sure that and we have truth on our side. They're refusing to respond, respond interrogatories. Like, there's questions and interrogatories, you got to answer interrogatories of, what did you do with my animals? What animals did you physically kill? And they refuse to answer those questions. So we've done a motion to compel, and they have not been corresponding, but yet they've been filing multiple. So they keep on filing multiple lawsuits against me, in the system. So right now, my attorney's advice, we're just taking it case by case and just keep on. We're just staying strong in litigation. And then on top of that, I got criminal cases out. So right in the middle of me fighting for my property, I'm also fighting the stalking charge. Then I'm fighting the arrest charge. They arrested me and charged me without obstruction. So I'm fighting. So I have a lot of cases in both criminal and civil court. So we're in court all the time, fighting these things. So we're in active litigation every month.
All right.
Okay, thank you for answering those questions.
Thank you, Trouble. We did have Straight No Chase up here, but they must have dropped down, so I don't see him up here. I guess we'll go back to Just Case. Just Case, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Just real quick before I go to bed, if anybody who has a TikTok, if y'all could post those videos in the Jumbotron, so people ain't got to search all over. And I forgot my other point, but my prayers are with Derek. And if I could have any, if you do have any anything to contribute, it will help out a lot, because he got a big battle on his hands. I didn't realize that racism was so prevalent until I stepped out of my bubble and understood, it actually kind of smacked me in my face. So I could kind of relate to that, but I got hit real quick. You can't make that mistake twice.
Not even.
So I just want to say have a good night, everybody. I got to be up in a few hours to go to work. But,
hey, thank you so much. Hey, I appreciate that chime in.
Thank you, Jess Cakes, and definitely go ahead and get you some sleep in there, so you're not tired tomorrow. I'm gonna say this here. I appreciate Derek coming into the space. I definitely appreciate Miss Giselle for bringing him here. You guys, Derek, I wish the platform was bigger. We're trying to grow it. We're slowly growing it, so that's one of the things. We get a little bit bigger, we can put these stories out there to a much larger mass. So I definitely appreciate you coming in here. I know it's not easy telling your story and opening yourself up to people, but we definitely appreciate having you here. We wish the best of luck for you, and we're definitely going to continue to go ahead. I'm following you, so we're going to continue to go ahead and try to stay on this story as much as possible. Like I said, Miss Giselle, I know she's working in the back channels to try to get you on some larger platforms as well too. So I'm definitely go ahead, and the way you told your story tonight, definitely go ahead and tell them. I know you was on Rashad Ritchie's platform, which is huge. So I know that put eyeballs on the situation there as well too. So shout out to him, and I'm glad that he was able to get you on there and you're able to tell people as well too. So we'll do our part as a smaller black-owned media platform that's growing, but that's still small. We'll go ahead and do our part to try to get it out there as much as possible. So shout out to everybody in the space tonight, everybody in the space, guys. We appreciate it. We appreciate Derek coming in here. It took a lot of courage, to open himself up and tell exactly what's happened to him. This brother is not only fighting for his property and livelihood, but he's also fighting for his his life as well too. He's like he said, he's fighting criminal charges and everything else as well. So we definitely in support. OG, I'm gonna get ready to close this thing out. I know you got your hand up, but I'm gonna go ahead and get ready to close this thing out. I'm gonna get ready to go and support this brother. Also on the GoFundMe, and for those that can, definitely support him on the GoFundMe. So we'll be definitely go ahead, Miss Giselle, go ahead and get it in real quick, and then OG, matter of fact, I'll give you 30 seconds to get it in, and we're gonna go to Miss Giselle, and then we're gonna close this thing out.
And can I give closing statements? Can I give closing statements when everybody's done?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, good deal.
Yeah, just real quick, I wanted to ask Derek and remind him about these animal rights organizations and all, like PETA and all. You might want to get in touch with PETA and see what they can suggest. Since you said the animals were involved and animals have been slaughtered, get them and see what they might say.
PETA's a story for another day, but PETA doesn't agree with animal ownership. PETA doesn't like animal ownership. That's a story for another day.
Y'all sorting things out, they may give you some information that may be viable for you. As far that's all I'm saying. If a legitimate organization, they can give you some legitimate reasons other than just what they feel about things. They can give you some law type of scenarios.
All right.
Fair enough. I appreciate that.
Thank you, OG. Let me go ahead and get to Miss Giselle. Miss Giselle, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Yeah, no, thank you. We're so grateful, Newstoter, for you taking on the guilty until proven guilty bucket story. We have a lot of platforms that we're hitting up over the next couple of weeks. And we have a lot of different voices, a lot of different stories. So guys, please, if you haven't caught them, we've been on Judge Joe Brown, Dana. We've also been on Marcel Dixon's platform, and our brother Kid Gravity. He just interviewed our sister Melissa, and these stories are going to be circulating because we gotta keep the focus. The biggest thing that we're trying to do with this messaging is let the world hear, let our people hear, let them see that, hey, you know what, they might be going through the same situation. They might just deal with it in another way, but they don't understand that this is the reason why we need our reparations. They don't understand. They don't match these issues with needing repair. They match it with other social issues, and other groups don't go through the things that we go through in this country. So if you guys can go out and support this brother in any way, hit his Cash App so you can get some of that legal team built up, and definitely check out the other shows. I'm gonna, if Newstoter or have them, I'll bring the others here as well. Big ups to our brother Steve, who actually introduced me to this brother. and his story. And I wanted to make sure I got them to the masses so that you guys can help and support and maybe come up with the idea on how we can help them in the best ways. So with that said, I do appreciate each and everyone for supporting the Guilty Until Proven Guilty tour. And if you know someone that's going through some things and you want their stories amplified, just DM me or inbox me or email me at info@missionzell.com. And you can join the mailing list for updates. I'm sending out newsletters starting in November on MrZell.com. So thank you again, Newstoter and DJ, for having us.
Good deal. Good deal. Hey, so I just wanted to say, just in close, I know we're about to close out, just giving my closing remarks. I thank you to everybody that's on here, because at the end of the day, every ear that hears this story, every voice that chimes in, it helps. And it helps to keep encouraged, help to keep us going. And I just ask that everybody just be intentional. Sometimes you hear these stories about all the injustice and people losing land and all these things. Sometimes, man, oh yeah, that's a lot going on, but we forget that, man, we got a role to play in it. And I love the fact that I was able to come on this platform. I know y'all said it's a smaller platform, but man, every platform that's out there making a difference for justice matters. And I watched like the Voidcast. My first interview was on the Voidcast. And after I got on the Voidcast, man, I remember seeing like within maybe just some weeks, man, they started getting millions and millions and millions of views to their page, man. And just all because they decide to take that step and have people on and try to support justice. I support the Voidcast and I support you guys in every sense of the way. So please, if there's any other platforms, I don't care how big, how small they are, just coordinate with me. I love to get on and talk or chime in other stories of what's going on. You know, consider me an ally when it comes to advocacy and the voices, the holding injustice, holding stories of injustice to regard and holding people accountable. So thank y'all so much. I ask that y'all please go look me up on TikTok at Derek for Wildlife. Or even on Facebook with just my name, Derek Williamson, and just be intentional on supporting, please. And got a big legal battle. I have to pay the suit every month. I have an albino wallaby, you know, for lack of better terms. Some of you may know a white kangaroo pretty much, but it's a wallaby. It's different. That I have to pay every single month to the zoo to take care of for me while I go through this injustice. And a lot of animals are dispersed out at foster homes. I got to pay attorney fees, pay for separate living. All this stuff, and it's overwhelming. I'm just one person. I've been having to carry the mantle of this on my shoulders and responsible for the PR, responsible for the financial burdens, responsible for the animal care. It's a lot that's here. So anything that you guys can give to support, I promise you, it's a good investment in our ministry and us, and I'm thankful. And in the meantime, I look forward for the opportunity to minister back to this platform and all of you guys to have a great night, and hey, let's keep on doing the work and promoting justice across the board. All right, team?
All right. And once again, thank you, Derek. Thank you, Miss G. Thank you, DJs, speakers, listeners, and everybody that came up in the space tonight, guys. We should be back tomorrow. I believe we're going to be holding the space. I'm not sure. I'm going to see exactly if I'm going to be holding the space. I may not be holding one Thursday, but I'll let you guys know beforehand if I am holding one. So, you know, we're going to... Oh, you got a space tonight? Okay.
We continuing on this message. Hey, Derek, come over to the late night space. We're going to figure out a way to get this shmoney. You know what I'm saying? Shmoney.
Okay. Miss.
Hey, good deal. Just send me the information and just go ahead and send it to me. And I'll see if I can get back on later. Just go ahead and send it to me.
Okay. Cool Breeze and Miss D, we finna get ready to close this out, but DJ's
follow back.
But DJ's finna get ready to hold the space, guys, so y'all can get up and nap. And we're going to go ahead and close it out for the night. So we'll see you guys tomorrow night. Peace.
Okay. I see where it happened there, because there's one happening in Bryan College Station in Texas, too. They taking 2 black men land. I thought it was that. And then I looked up and seen it said Atlanta. So I'm sorry.
Oh, no, you good. You good.
We Bryan College, Texas, too. They taking their land.
Yeah, we were just about to close out, but DJ's finna hold a space coming up, so definitely go there, and it's gonna continue as well, too, guys. So we will see you.
I drove by Aqua Place Miss D today too. I should have started out so much strawberry, but come on, we'll talk about this.
Peace, everybody.
Hey, good night, everybody.
Good night.
For sure. Follow back.
All right. Peace to everybody in the YouTube space. Thank you guys for joining. As always, make sure you guys like, share, subscribe, comment on tonight's broadcast. We will see you either tomorrow night or Monday. Peace.